What if I told you that one man could reshape the future of technology, space travel, and even the way we think about humanity itself? Elon Musk, the visionary entrepreneur, is worth over $781 billion. But his story is more than just numbers. It's about challenges, risks, and bold ideas that changed the world. Today, you'll discover the real facts behind the man who dares to dream bigger than anyone else. This is the story of Elon Musk. The summer air in Pretoria hung heavy with dust and heat, but inside a small bedroom at the end of a quiet street, a boy's world was alive with electricity. Wires snaked across the floor like restless vines, circuit boards glowed faintly under the dim light of a desk lamp, and the steady buzz of a soldering iron filled the silence. Elon Musk, thin and pale, leaned forward with intense concentration. His hands trembled slightly as he fused a small component into place. He was only 12 years old, but his mind was already elsewhere, out among the stars, building machines that no one around him could even imagine. On the walls of his room hung posters of rockets, planets, and galaxies. At the center was Mars, a fiery red that seemed to call to him every time his eyes wandered away from his work. To Elon, the world outside, schoolyards filled with bullies, long afternoons of loneliness, mattered far less than this glowing vision of escape. The door creaked open. His mother, May Musk, tall and elegant, stepped inside with a mixture of affection and worry. "Elon," she said softly, "you've been at that desk for hours. Don't you think it's time to eat something?" Without looking up, Elon shook his head. "I'll eat later, Mom. I'm close to finishing this game. If I can sell it, maybe I'll finally have enough to buy my own computer." May sighed but didn't press him. She knew this was how her son lived, inside his head, always building, always chasing something invisible. She simply placed a plate of food on his bedside table and left him in his world of imagination. Elon tapped a few final lines of code into the glowing green screen. The game came alive, crude pixelated spaceships flying through a starry void. He grinned, a rare spark of pride lighting his face. He called it Blaster. It wasn't much, but it was his creation, and deep down, he felt it was only the beginning. He leaned back in his chair and whispered to himself, almost like a vow. "One day, I won't just code space. I'll go there." Outside, the night sky of South Africa stretched wide and endless, filled with stars that seemed impossibly far away. But for Elon Musk, even at 12 years old, they already felt within reach. Cliffhanger, what he didn't know was that soon, an opportunity would come, a chance to leave South Africa behind and chase those stars in North America. His journey was about to begin. The late 1990s pulsed with the restless energy of Silicon Valley. In a cramped office on Palo Alto's University Avenue, the hum of computers mixed with the smell of cold pizza and burnt coffee. Cables sprawled across the floor, monitors flickered with lines of code, and in the middle of it all sat Elon Musk and his younger brother Kimball, surrounded by chaos but burning with ambition. Their company was called Zip2, a digital map and directory service that, in Elon's mind, could change the way people navigated the world. At the time, most people barely understood the internet, but Elon saw what it could become. "This is it, Kimball," Elon said one night, rubbing his tired eyes. "If we can convince newspapers to use our maps online, we won't just be building a company, we'll be building the future." Kimball leaned back in his chair, grinning despite his exhaustion. "You're crazy, you know that? We're competing with giants, and we don't even have enough money for new office chairs." Elon didn't laugh. His voice was steady, almost cold. "We don't need chairs. We need contracts." The brothers fought through endless rejections, sleepless nights, and skeptical investors. Then, finally, success. Compaq bought Zip2 for $307 million. Elon walked away with $22 million, a fortune by any measure. Most would have retired young. But not Elon. Almost immediately, he poured his money into another impossible idea. X.com, an online bank that terrified traditional bankers. People called it reckless, naive, doomed to fail. Yet X.com would soon evolve into PayPal, reshaping online payments forever. But success carried a price. Boardroom battles turned vicious. Investors grew uneasy with Elon's relentless vision and pushed him out of his own company. One morning, he found himself standing outside PayPal's headquarters, no longer in control of the empire he had created. For a long moment, he just stared at the glass doors, the hum of traffic filling the silence. Finally, he muttered under his breath, almost like a promise. "Fine. If they won't let me run PayPal, I'll build something bigger." Cliffhanger: Elon Musk was wealthy now, but money was never the goal. He wanted something greater, something that reached beyond Earth itself. And soon, he would risk everything to chase it. The warehouse in Los Angeles looked less like the birthplace of a revolution and more like a junkyard. Scattered metal parts, half-finished rocket engines, and folding chairs filled the space where a handful of engineers worked late into the night. At the center of it all stood Elon Musk, eyes blazing with determination. He had already made millions from PayPal, but instead of living in comfort, he had poured nearly all of it into two wild bets: SpaceX and Tesla. To most people, it looked like madness. Rockets were the domain of governments, not startups. Electric cars were dismissed as toys. Critics laughed, calling him a reckless dreamer. One night, his lead engineer, Tom Mueller, tried to reason with him. "Elon, rockets blow up. They don't just work. NASA has failed countless times, and they have billions. We don't." Elon's reply was sharp, unwavering. "Then we'll make them cheaper. We'll keep failing until we succeed." And fail they did. The first 3 Falcon 1 launches exploded, each failure burning millions of dollars in seconds. Reporters mocked him, late-night comedians turned him into a punchline. Meanwhile, Tesla was collapsing under lawsuits, production delays, and angry customers waiting for cars that never arrived. At home, the pressure seeped into his marriage. Justine Musk, tired of living under the shadow of his obsession, confronted him. "You're not building companies anymore, Elon. You're building an obsession, and it's crushing everyone around you." By 2008, Elon was nearly broke. SpaceX had just one launch left before total collapse. Tesla was weeks away from bankruptcy. He sat alone in his office, staring at the ceiling as silence pressed in. "This is it," he whispered. "One more shot. If we fail, it all dies." Cliffhanger: outside, the world waited for him to fall. Elon Musk had risked everything, and the next rocket launch would decide if his dream would burn, or finally take flight. September 2008. On a remote launch pad in the Pacific Ocean, engineers held their breath. The Falcon 1 rocket stood tall under the blazing sun, a gleaming symbol of Elon Musk's final chance. 3 failures had nearly destroyed him. This 4th launch would decide whether SpaceX lived or vanished forever. The countdown echoed through radios. 3, 2, 1, ignition. Flames erupted, engines roared, and the rocket lifted slowly from the pad. Every second felt like an eternity. Elon watched the screen, silent, his hands clenched into fists. He had risked everything, his fortune, his marriage, his sanity, for this moment. And then, it worked. Against all odds, the Falcon 1 climbed higher, breaking through the atmosphere and finally reaching orbit. The small control room exploded with cheers. Engineers hugged, some cried, and Elon, exhausted, whispered only 2 words. "We did it." At the same time, Tesla teetered on the edge of disaster. Bankruptcy was days away. But in a stroke of fate, a last-minute $50 million investment and a government loan saved the company from collapse. Still, survival brought no peace. Elon pushed harder, demanding perfection. His relentless drive inspired some, but alienated others. One Wall Street analyst, Linda Carver, studied his companies with sharp skepticism. "One man cannot reinvent rockets, cars, and energy all at once," she told her colleagues. "This is a bubble waiting to burst, and I'll be there to prove it. Elon, however, ignored the noise. He had survived the impossible. And in his mind, survival was just the beginning. Cliffhanger: the world was still in crisis, and his empire was fragile. But Elon Musk was already looking further ahead, whispering to himself, "Next, we build the future." The year was 2012, and inside Tesla's Fremont factory, sparks flew as robots welded steel frames under blinding lights. The air smelled of metal and sweat. Workers pushed through impossible deadlines, while Elon Musk patrolled the floor like a general at war. "This car must be perfect," he barked, pointing at the sleek body of the Model S. "Not good. Perfect. People will judge us by this car, and if we fail, Tesla is dead." Some employees admired his passion. Others broke under the pressure. Elon barely slept, sometimes collapsing on a factory couch, refusing to go home. To him, the mission outweighed everything else. At last, the Model S launched, and it was a triumph. Critics hailed it as the best car of the year. Customers lined up. Awards poured in. Tesla's stock soared. For the first time, the dream of electric cars seemed real. Meanwhile, SpaceX made history, docking its Dragon capsule with the International Space Station. Elon was no longer just a dreamer. He was rewriting entire industries. But not everyone was convinced. On Wall Street, analyst Linda Carver sharpened her words. "Musk's companies depend on subsidies and hype," she declared. "The moment reality catches up, investors will flee." Yet reality seemed to favor Elon. Tesla expanded, SolarCity grew, and SpaceX kept winning NASA contracts. His net worth climbed past $20 billion. Still, Elon wasn't satisfied. At a press event, standing before flashing cameras, he looked straight into the crowd and announced with calm fire, "We're not stopping with cars. We're building the future of energy itself." The audience roared. But somewhere, far from the cheering crowd, Linda Carver whispered to herself, "Arrogance always has a price." Cliffhanger: the world saw a visionary. Linda saw a bubble. And soon, Tesla would face its greatest trial yet. By 2018, Tesla's dream was alive, but it was hanging by a thread. Inside the Fremont factory, chaos reigned. Workers protested long shifts, machinery broke down, and production of the Model 3 fell weeks behind schedule. Elon Musk refused to leave the factory floor. For months, he slept on a worn couch in the corner, his face gaunt, his voice sharp with exhaustion. "You can't keep living like this," his brother Kimball warned during a late-night visit. Elon's reply was immediate, almost harsh. "I don't have a choice. If we fail now, Tesla dies. The mission comes before me." Outside the factory, the storm raged louder. Elon's late-night tweets shocked investors, his public fights with regulators made headlines, and Wall Street smelled blood. Linda Carver, the relentless analyst, released her boldest report yet. "Musk is finished. Tesla will implode within the year. This is the end of the myth." For a moment, it seemed she might be right. Tesla's stock wavered, critics circled, and even loyal employees began to doubt. But then, against every prediction, Tesla delivered. Production accelerated, cars rolled off the lines, and by the end of 2019, Tesla had become the most valuable car company in America. And still, Elon pressed forward. On stage, he unveiled the futuristic Cybertruck. With millions watching, he boasted about its unbreakable windows. Then, crash! A steel ball shattered the glass in front of him. The audience gasped. The internet exploded with laughter. But Elon didn't flinch. He smirked, shrugged, and moved on. Within days, Tesla had over 250,000 reservations for the Cybertruck. What looked like humiliation had turned into victory. Turning point: Elon Musk had faced fire, fury, and ridicule, and somehow turned them into fuel. Yet behind his grin, the pressure only grew. The higher he climbed, the more dangerous the fall would be. By 2021, Elon Musk stood at the peak of global attention. Tesla's value had surged past $1 trillion, making it the most valuable car company in history. SpaceX had mastered reusable rockets, Starlink satellites circled the Earth, and Elon's fortune reached an almost unimaginable height, $781 billion. He had become the richest man alive. Yet instead of peace, success brought a new kind of war. Every launch, every tweet, every product announcement shook markets and split public opinion. Admirers saw a genius shaping the future. Critics saw a reckless gambler. On Wall Street, Linda Carver's voice grew louder than ever. "This empire is unsustainable," she declared on live television. "Wealth this high cannot last. Musk's fall is inevitable." Elon, meanwhile, struggled with the weight of fame and pressure. Relationships cracked, sleep grew scarce, and every move he made was amplified by millions. One night, walking quietly with his mother May, he confessed, "People think I care about money. But money is just fuel. What I really want is Mars." Then came the breaking point. A SpaceX rocket carrying a crucial batch of Starlink satellites lifted off under the eyes of the world. Billions of dollars, and Elon's credibility, were on the line. The engines roared, the rocket climbed, and then, in a flash of fire, it exploded in the sky. The control room fell silent. Investors panicked. Reporters swarmed. On the monitor, flames rained down into the ocean. Elon stood frozen, his face pale, his voice barely above a whisper. What if Linda was right all along? Cliffhanger, climax for the first time in years. Doubt pierced the armor of the richest man on Earth. And the world held its breath, waiting to see if he would rise again, or finally fall. Night had fallen over Boca Chica, Texas. The air smelled of salt and steel, and in the distance, the massive silhouette of Starship towered against the stars. Elon Musk walked alone along the quiet launch site, the echoes of the recent explosion still fresh in his mind. Billions had been lost, critics were louder than ever, and yet, the work continued. Engineers were already welding new parts, testing engines, preparing for the next attempt. Failure, after all, was nothing new here. Elon paused, gazing up at the rocket's silver frame, his face lit by the pale moonlight. For a long moment, he let the silence speak. Then, almost to himself, he whispered, "Failure is just the path. The mission is what matters." Far away, Linda Carver watched the news from her office window. For years, she had doubted him, betting against his vision. But seeing him rise again and again, she felt something unexpected: respect. "The man doesn't stop," she murmured. "Maybe that's why he wins." Days later, Elon stood before his team at Starbase, his voice steady, his eyes fixed on the horizon. "Wealth comes and goes. Critics rise and fall. But our mission, to push humanity forward, will outlast all of it. If that means risking everything again, then so be it." The engineers cheered, their energy renewed. For Elon, the number, 781 billion, was never the destination. It was only a milestone, a tool, fuel for something far greater. As he looked at the rocket gleaming under the Texas stars, the future stretched before him. Mars was still waiting, silent and red in the sky. Final line: Elon Musk had become the richest man on Earth, but his true wealth was the fire inside him, the one that refused to die. Thank you so much for watching until the very end. I truly appreciate your time and curiosity in exploring the real story behind Elon Musk. If you're ready to take your mindset to the next level, check out the link right here on the channel. It's designed to help you build the millionaire habits that can change your life. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and join our community of future achievers. See you in the next one.